Alright, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to another video here on the channel, and today we're going to be talking about a pretty insane lawsuit situation that is involving a lot of pretty prominent YouTubers here on the platform. And this all actually ties into the entire FTX saga that went down at the end of 2022. For those of you who don't really pay attention to like cryptocurrency, FTX was a billion-dollar cryptocurrency company that, was basically like a trading platform, I guess, if that makes sense. Like, you can go on their website, or well, you could before they went bankrupt and everything, but you could like go through FTX and buy like cryptocurrency and different securities and stuff like that through the platform, basically to like invest money. Pretty much that's what most people used it for, or to like just use crypto in general or whatever. But basically this massive cryptocurrency company ended up completely falling apart, and there was a massive huge scandal about how everything was handled, how there was a bunch of shady runnings inside the company when it came to how they handled people's money and the alleged ties that they had to people outside of the company. There's still a lot really being kind of broken down in the whole FTX scandal, and it's not really over yet, but that started happening like, I don't know, what, 4 or 5 months ago at this point, something like that. And now we're seeing a pretty big lawsuit for $1 billion that is now being levied against a couple of YouTube creators who actually ended up basically like promoting FTX in a way, right? These guys were doing sponsorships, pretty much is what it seems to me at least to be, like brand deals essentially, where they're promoting a product through FTX, and obviously there was financial incentive for these creators to do so. But yeah, now there's a massive lawsuit after everything has happened with FTX, basically claiming that these creators or influencers misled people, I guess is the best way to put it. It's a little bit of a confusing situation, so just bear with me. It definitely is worth actually paying attention to though, because I mean, this is a $1 billion case, and obviously if this goes the way that it could, that's like life-ruining money, right? For a lot of these creators, I can only imagine that they would not be able to cover that kind of damage. It's a pretty massive lawsuit, so we're going to talk about this entire thing, kind of break down why it's going on, why this is important, and kind of talk about whether or not I think this may or may not have a shot. I mean, let's just go ahead and break it all down. So, a group of investors who did business with defunct cryptocurrency exchange FTX brought a class action lawsuit against multiple internet influencers Wednesday, alleging the content creators pushed unregistered securities on their viewers and followers while promoting the collapsed exchange. The lawsuit seeks over $1 billion in damages and was brought against content creators that reached millions of people online, including Bitboy crypto creator Ben Armstrong and finance YouTube creator Graham Stephan, among 7 other individuals, and the talent management firm Creators Agency. So, looks like about 9 people and I guess content management firm got hit here with this lawsuit. So that's a pretty big amount of people, right? I mean, if you broke this down, evenly, we're talking about, well, about $100 million in damages per person on average, just kind of, doing the ballpark estimates and whatnot here. $100 million in damages in a lawsuit like this, obviously, you gotta think, like, the guy has to be some proof, there has to be proof. Like, this isn't just one of these little, like, lawsuits where, it's like a Judge Judy case. Oh, they bumped into my car and I need $300 to fix my fucking bumper or whatever it is. This is like making very serious allegations. I mean, if you really think about this logically, the point being made here essentially is that these content creators and these influencers are at least partially responsible for damages and losses accrued by people who found FTX through them or whatever, right? And because of their promotion of FTX and their endorsement through brand deals and whatnot, or working through the platform in some way, shape, or form, they're now basically responsible as the person who led them down the road of, making these choices. So it's definitely a pretty tricky argument, and when you really start to like know exactly what was going on, that's when it starts to kind of ease in, because, at first glance, you might look at a story like this and be like, oh, whatever happened to personal responsibility? Why are these YouTube creators, I guess, being pinned as responsible for these people's damages and losses when they were simply just promoting something, Well, the issue that I see here, at least, is just more or less the severity of the issue, like there's definitely been products and whatnot that have been, I guess, advertised on YouTube through sponsorships, and, a lot of different platforms have worked with creators to try and, grow their brand presence or whatever. But the issue here is this is a financial thing, you know what I mean? This isn't like some situation, some game loot box company or something comes along and goes fucking belly up. This is like people actually doing things for money, like investing and, buying cryptocurrencies and whatnot. These are, things that are very heavily regulated at least here in the United States. I mean, I know not in every place in the world, world, especially cryptocurrency, is regulated the best. But here in the United States, I mean, it's not regulated as much as the government probably would like it to be, but it's regulated to a point now where, like, you know, you can't just treat it like it's the wild, wild west anymore. You know, you got to actually keep records of a lot of things. And especially with platforms like FTX, where, you know, they're trading securities and whatnot, there's a completely different clusterfuck of issues with that. And that's why, me personally, I've never really worked with a lot of these different companies like this, man. You know, these companies that do these kind of like, oh, Robin Hoods and these different stock companies that have an app or whatever that you can cash apps and stuff. A lot of them, they are credible, you know, like a Cash App deal. I would take a Cash App deal or something like that, you know, one of these reputable brands. But when it comes to cryptocurrency, you know, it's a whole different ballgame, man. Like, you know, it's a way newer industry. There's a lot different things going on in it. It seems, at least from my experience of covering stories like this, there's a lot more like scams and problems that come along with people doing cryptocurrency businesses and whatnot. So it's just a pretty confusing situation here. So Steven did not immediately respond to requests for comment from Decrypt. Armstrong told Decrypt that he never received $1 from FTX, adding that he plans on, quote, countersuing immediately. Quote, I've never spoken with anyone at FTX or as a marketing agent acting on their behalf, not once. He said via direct message on Twitter, so the allegations against me are 100% false and it will be extremely easy to provide evidence of this. Now, you know, I've done business with companies before in this kind of light, you know, these brand deals, because you know how it is now. Like here on YouTube, you know, there's so many people watching videos like this that companies have realized that you can just kind of market more directly to the consumer if you just pay a YouTuber to, you know, sponsor your product. And just off the top of the head, that's kind of what I'm seeing here. You know, these guys maybe weren't working with FTX. I mean, here we have Armstrong, who is also, I believe, like Bitboy Crypto, I think is the name he goes by. He claims that he's never even really talked to anyone at FTX, so there's no deal between them. He wasn't being paid by the company to promote or endorse them. He's planning on countersuing, so I'm assuming a lot of these different creators are in different positions compared to one another, like when it comes to their involvement or whatever. So I guess we'll have to kind of break it down based on person, on whether or not, you know, they're going to respond in certain ways, because, I mean, you never know, like, a couple of these creators might have been working directly with FTX, a couple of them might not have been, you know, you never really know. It's just, it's weird how business like this breaks down, especially with this many variables. You know, they're talking about, you know, what, like 9 individuals are getting sued, and then an entire, like, creator agency is also getting sued here. So the unregistered securities, quote, endorsed and promoted were yield-bearing accounts offered by FTX, the lawsuit claims, adding that the creators were paid to endorse FTX, which was a, quote, fraudulent scheme designed to take advantage of investors from across the globe. Edwin Garrison, a resident of Oklahoma, led the lawsuit, and though the lawsuit was brought in Florida's Southern District Miami Division Court, the plaintiffs include residents of the United Kingdom, Canada, and Australia as well. The defendants named in the case are responsible for damages due to, quote, misrepresentations and omissions regarding the FTX platform and played a crucial role in elevating the collapsed business, the lawsuit claims. So I guess they're making the point that these people who were apparently promoting FTX in this entire situation were maybe not telling the full truth about some of the things that were going on the platform. I don't know realistically if that's like an issue with the creators or not, right? Because I mean, I see that going 2 different ways. Either A, they're saying, oh, they were misrepresenting the app and whatnot and usage of the platform to try and get as many people to, you know, download it or whatnot so they could get paid more, and they were just funneling people into a collapse or whatever. Or if they're going down route 2 and saying, like, now that we have hindsight, these guys were just misleading us about everything going on with this company's operation, basically insinuating that they had some sort of inside knowledge of the complete fucking mismanagement or whatever you really want to call what happened at FTX. I mean, I think if that's the route that they're really going in this lawsuit, to say like, oh, you know, these guys, you know, Sam Bankman-Fried and whatnot, and all these people running the company, they did some crazy scummy shit behind the scenes that apparently even the federal government and all these other regulatory agencies and whatnot couldn't pick up along the way, or either did pick up and just threw it aside or whatever it was. But to think that, you know, these guys making videos out of their offices at their house would have knowledge of the complete just lunacy going on at FTX would be absolutely insane. I mean, there's no way that, you know, like Graham Stephan, for instance, was gonna know that Sam Bankman-Fried and all these people were some of the biggest criminals possibly imaginable, you know? Like, I don't know what these people think. I don't know exactly what they're insinuating in terms of that, but they are making the claim that they have, at least in anything, benefited FTX with massive amounts of promotion that have now basically allowed, like, I guess, people to get completely shit on, you know? FTX could not have risen to such heights without the massive impact of these influencers influencers who hyped the deceptive FTX platform for undisclosed payments ranging from tens of thousands of dollars to multi-million-dollar bribes, it states. The lawsuit claims that YouTube played a central role in how influencers promoted FTX, noting that the video streaming platform is more popular than network television. Following the collapse of FTX, several of the lawsuit's defendants, quote, scrubbed their YouTube channels of all video clips, endorsing FTX and praising Sam Bankman-Fried and replacing them with apology videos, the lawsuit claims. Okay, so when it comes down to all this, right, and you really start to think about what exactly is going on here. I mean, I don't know, like, I feel like the framing of that was a little bit worse than it should have been. Like, I feel like that kind of insinuates these guys were like trying to cover up that they worked with this company or whatnot, but it claims then that they replaced this content with apology videos where, from what I would imagine, these creators announced to their fans, hey, this company that I've worked with or promoted or endorsed or whatever in the past has gotten exposed for whatnot, and I want to apologize for the mess up and whatnot. Like, I don't know. I feel like at a certain point, YouTubers need to start to realize, like, you have to be careful with these sponsorships that you pick. And, it's impossible to tell if a company, especially one like FTX, is a scam like that right off the rip, right? But I mean, for me personally, like, I just operate with a couple basic rules when it comes to picking sponsorships. For instance, like, I don't pick any that promote gambling on like cryptocurrency websites and offshore sites and shit like that. I think that's a little bit too much to promote. I would never promote like anything along a couple certain guidelines, right? Like, I feel like you just kind of get a check offered to you by a lot of these companies. And for a lot of creators, yeah, it's like really hard to turn down. But I mean, this is the problem with this YouTube promotion stuff, right? It's like now these guys are being sued for hundreds of millions of dollars individually, over $1 billion combined, because, they were promoting what I would imagine they thought was like a reputable company. And that's what's like craziest about it, is like these guys were all under the impression, as was pretty much everybody else in the world, that FTX was like a normal company, was like an actually legitimate platform. So I don't know. I don't feel like they necessarily should be labeled as like these scumbag scammers who like went out of their way to rip people off. It wasn't, at least from what I can see, like they were promoting some like clear, one of these fucking tokens or something, NFTs they came up with, and then just rug pulled on everybody. It wasn't anything like that. They just unfortunately promoted the wrong company, and months later it fucking fell apart, and then now they're getting sued in the remnants of everything because they're apparently responsible. I don't know. I definitely understand, like, yeah, at a certain point these creators helped promote this platform, but I mean, did they do anything like, I guess, malicious? That's a different question. So I don't know. I kind of want to see a little bit more come out about this whole thing, maybe cover it in a follow-up video. And it also goes on to say, though, that it's not limited to these YouTubers. You know what I mean? Like, this is actually a consolidation of what appears to be multiple different cases that have been filed in several different places. And it even includes like the names of people like Tom Brady and other celebrities that have also promoted or endorsed FTX in really any way. So it's not like these YouTubers are the only people getting hit here, right? Anyway, with that being said, thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're brand new around here on the channel, follow me over on Twitter and Twitch at @SubTheOptimus. Make sure to check out Shoptimus down below. Thank you to my Watch Optimus subscribers. Your support helps the channel tremendously. And until my next video, guys, this is Optimus, well, talking about these YouTubers getting sued and signing out.